Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope y'all can hear me. Can y'all ask the others to join as soon as possible, please, so that we can go ahead and start. All right, so until the others join, I'll start the session. Uh, right. So before I start, I would love to warmly welcome all of you to this AI Decoded workshop. So this is something new that is done by Elevate. And before I start, okay, I'll first introduce myself. I'm Zainab Iflal, the founder of Elevate. So I would love to give the chance for y'all from Elevate to study about AI. So whichever you don't have to be an expert in AI to come to this webinar today, right? So including myself, I myself joined this webinar today just so I can learn something or the other because I am a beginner myself and I don't know a thing about AI. So for me itself, I'm sure that this workshop will be of immense help because today, whatever we see online, now if you take any picture or anything, we can't even differentiate if it is, if there is AI used or not, right? So I hope this will be an engaging session for all of you and y'all can use the chats, y'all can unmute. We have allowed everything so that it will be an awesome session today. And I hope I'm audible. You can hear me, right? Can y'all send in the chats and y'all can see me, I suppose? Uh, can we hear a yes? I mean, here or maybe a text message at least. Okay, right. So y'all are there. Okay, right. Okay, so now this session is, like I said, it's not just for beginners, right? So some of y'all are already into AI. Maybe y'all are doing a degree in AI or something or the other, right? And you just want to polish it. For y'all also this would be a good support, right? While for some others, y'all are already in the field and y'all know a lot, but y'all just want to check, if I know enough and all of that. So even for y'all, this might be of immense use, right? So I'll not talk too much because we waste so much time already, right? Like waiting for y'all to join. So I hope we were supposed to have around 100 students, I think they will join, so no worries. Let's go slowly, right? And please make sure that you don't leave the meeting halfway, right? So if not, it's not going to be of any use. You're coming halfway and then leaving halfway. That's not going to do anything, right? So make sure that you stay till the very end. Also, because we have a small surprise for you, right? I was about to tell it in the start itself, but Amna told me not to say. So Amna will be revealing what that is towards the end of the webinar, right? So make sure that you stay till the very end to see what this is about. And yeah, so what I have to say is make maximum use of it and don't leave the meeting halfway, right? Because since we have 100 odd participants, if you leave, sometimes you may not be able to join in if magically all the seats fill up, right? So make sure you stay to the very end and take notes if you need and make maximum use somehow, right? And what I want to say, the other thing is, I would love to talk about Amna, right? So already we have introduced on the group itself who she is and what she does, but I'll just give a basic idea, right? So she has been working, so as you can see on the screen, she has been studying BSc honors in artificial intelligence and data science. For now, she's in her third year, right? So she has experience in that field, and she also is working as an AI engineering intern, right, at IFS, if you all know, R&D International. So she knows a lot on this field, and it's not just about that she knows the how, she also knows the why, right? She knows like why this is a certain thing in AI, because I don't know properly, so I just say it that way, right? So she knows everything behind it. So she is trying now as the founder of Arco.ai, right? So she's planning to, make sure that these young learners, they get to know about this field, right? So it's not just about, oh, AI is there and we use AI. We use AI for everything, that's for sure, right? We all know how to use it, but we don't know the why behind it, or we don't know in detail what this is about, right? So this is the whole point of this workshop and why it's given for free. So we must actually thank Amna for coming forward and allowing us to, know about AI in this way, right? So she is also not just, in the academics itself, right? So she is the captain of Sri Lanka debating squad. She was the captain of Sri Lanka debating squad in international tournaments in debating and all of that. And she's also the vice chairperson for IEEE WIE. So she has an experience on, everything, right? So I'm sure that you all will learn a lot from her. And yeah, let's dive into it. I'll not talk too much, and let's welcome Amna here. And Amna, you can take over the floor.
Thank you, Zainab, for that. Yeah, so I'll go deep into what we have today because I think we're already late. So the plan for today, we're not trying to get very technical today itself because like considering the fact that most of us are beginners also. So the plan is basically to make sure all of us understand what AI really is and how LLMs and AI chatbots work behind the scenes. And also we'll go a quick walk through a lot of AI concepts that we hear these days as buzzwords. And then we'll have a small break and then we'll build something together. And then I think a lot of us are very curious about AI tools. Like then understanding and learning AI, some of us are like, okay, there's a lot of tools. How do I use it? So like about you being a user, you being a good user, I think this segment is for you. And then finally, we have a small grand review. So before starting, I have a question for you all, just to understand from where you all come and, the position, okay? So do you all think AI understands what you're saying when you all text an LLM or an AI chatbot or something of that sort? Maybe you all can drop it in the chat. Okay, most of you all think it understands. Nice. More responses. Come on, guys. What is this? Okay. So most of you all think, yeah, understands. Interesting. Okay. Okay, very interesting. So let's move on. Let's keep that there and let's go throughout the session and again reflect back at this question in a while. Okay, this like your responses are pretty interesting. So this can look scary. Don't get scared. It's nothing that scary. Okay. So for all of us who is thinking AI is ChatGPT, it's not. Okay. AI is a massive field. It its roots go back to 1950s when Alan Turing, came up with making computers intelligent. So ever since then, there were winters, there were conferences. Throughout all of these, AI was evolving. And machine learning was something that came up relatively very recently. It came up in around after 2010-ish. So till then, it was not a big thing. So AI was there, but not machine learning. And AI has so many other domains that are not machine learning. And what is machine learning? Machine learning is AI that has to do with a lot of data. So so let's say, for example, if we know certain factors, we can determine certain things because we have learned those things. For example, let's just think of a house. So let's say you know the number of rooms. Let's say you're an expert in the field first, and then you know the number of rooms, the number of washrooms, and the land value, and I don't know, whatever the other factors that directly affect the price, and then you can predict the price. You would pretty much fall in a good range. Similarly, you can use machines and make them learn the prices of houses in a very similar way so that you tell them the price and then give them all of these features and their values. Number of rooms, two. Number of washrooms, two. Land value, this much. And all of those things. So then with time, the machine will understand, okay, a land in Bambalapitia in this location with this many rooms, a big garden with parking space is this much amount, and that is expensive for a very similar thing in the Hivala, mostly. So stuff like that, it can understand based on its learning. So all of this has to do with data. And anything that has to do, anything in AI, so AI in itself is anything that mimics human intelligence. It could be robotics and other stuff which is not machine learning and also machine learning. So that is about machine learning. So in machine learning, remember I told you about machines learning. So deep learning is a specific part in machine learning where machines learn very deeply, literally. Okay, so machine learning models, they have this thing called layers. Layers is you can think of it as the amount that it studies, like the how deep it gets. So deep learning have a lot of layers, meaning it can identify a lot of patterns that uh, machine learning models that aren't using deep learning techniques do not identify. For example, certain houses with certain features, other machine learning models might not really get it, but deep learning models might get it. Why? Because they can understand certain features because they are learning very deeply, like I said. And then there is this concept called foundation models. That is something that came very, very recently. Around 2017, Google released a paper called Attention is All You Need. And that spoke about attention mechanisms, about how using these self-attention mechanisms, you can learn, not you, but machines. So based on these formulas, very soon, in like 2 to 3 years, ChatGPT came out and it was the fastest growing product ever. So with that, a lot of other LLMs and then LLMs, all of these came to play. So that is a little bit about foundation models. Foundation models are also deep learning models, which which has to do with like it's trained on a large data set. So deep learning just has a lot of layers, but foundation models are models that is trained on a really huge data set. So when I say really huge, I'm speaking about billions of, billions of sentences and, millions of images. I'm speaking about that big of a range. So a lot of us say LLMs as the umbrella term, right? Like we say LLMs for ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all of these. But actually, ChatGPT is not even an LLM, like the ChatGPT that we use now. It is an LLM. So the difference between LLMs and LMMs is LLMs can only deal with text. They were like the very initial models that we got from ChatGPT, who could only give text response. If you all can remember, like I think very initially we had some other models also, including BERT and a few others. They could only converse through text. They couldn't take in images. They couldn't deal with videos, no audio, none of this. But with time, gradually we figured out a way of how to give images, videos, audio, PDFs, all of these also as inputs. And then we converted LLMs into LLMs, which is large language models, into large multimodal models. And that language to multimodal capability, with that only we have now all the ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, DeepSeek, all of these AI models are coming under that. So that's a little bit about the. So when you just say ChatGPT is AI, it's very ridiculous. I'm telling this because a friend of mine once told, and it's just not going away from my head. So I'm sorry if you don't believe in that, but it's just not going from my head. Anyways, so ChatGPT is just the name of the site. It's not even the name of the model. So like if you see this graph, it says GPT 4.0. So that is the model name. ChatGPT is just the site. Yeah, so that's about a high level, overview of what AI really is. And next, this is something very interesting. I think a lot of you all have questions also around this, or at least had questions according to like your responses. Uh, so how do predictions work in LLMs? So here I'm using LLMs because I'm not going to speak about how images, videos, and all this work, because fundamentally, like they break down into the same logic as to how LLMs work. And LLM was the basic model. So I'll go with LLMs, but with time, you all can learn how, it applies to image models, how, videos are being generated, how each pixel is being, converted into token, and all of this interesting stuff you all can learn gradually, even how audio is being converted into numbers. Anyways, about this, how predictions work in LLM. So a lot of you all told initially that you all think that LLMs can understand. Yes, of course, like when you tell an LLM something, when you tell, most of you all use ChatGPT, so I'm going with that example. So if you all say ChatGPT, look, I'm having this challenge, what can I do? It understands you better than most of your closest people. Like sometimes it gives you very precise things. Some things that even you didn't know about yourself, it can tell you. So it's that good. So how can ChatGPT not understand it? Seriously, right? I mean, what an obvious question. But actually, what if all those are just randomness? What if it can't really understand you at all? And what if there is nothing real behind this? What if it's all statistics? What if it is all numbers? And what if it is all just hollow machines running on electricity? Okay, maybe what if is true? Let's see. So a lot of you all know about autocomplete, right? How it works in our phones. When you text something, the next word automatically comes, right? The capital of France is, and then you get the recommendation of Paris. So have you all wondered how that happens? So the simplest explanation that we get for that is probability, like according to probability, there is a higher chance of the response being Paris. So they recommend you that. But how do they know that Paris has 94.2%? Do they go and ask ChatGPT and come? No, I don't think so, because it was there before then. So how it actually happens is, this might feel like it's not the case, but actually it is the case. Okay, there have been so many people before you who have texted the capital of France is Paris, even though it sounds impossible. That is the truth. Okay, so collecting all of those data and stuff is similar to this, like the capital of some other place is something else, and these other words and their associated connections. Based on all of these, it generally can assume pretty well, with like a 94.2% accuracy, that this is the response. That is shocking, but it's just math behind it. The numbers are so huge that it feels unreal at times. So like this reminds me of something. If any of you all are like A-level math students, or I'm not sure if O-level math include this, but if any of you are like A-level math students, you all might know how if you take a die which has 6 sides and roll it once, the probability, if you roll it 6 times, the probability of you getting 1 is not 1/6 necessarily. The probability of you getting 2 is not necessarily 1/6. Like you can't say that 1 out of the 6 trials was one of those 6 numbers, right? Sometimes you could get 2 2s, you could get 3 1s. It could happen in different ways. But if you repeat the same thing over and over and over again for like 1,000 times, it boils down to the point that 1/6 times of the total number of trials you did was actually, linking back to number one. Number two, similarly. So the more the when your data set is so large, the accuracy is so high to the extent that now when you text ChatGPT, you feel like bro understands you. But in reality, it's just predictions. It's just ChatGPT knows some other random person's or a lot of other random people's text. It has read all of those. So based on all of the experiences, ChatGPT is just telling you something. In reality, there's no one behind that. It's just randomly pulling stuff. That is, so later on we'll study about tokenization and like how tokens work. So any tokens closer to like what you say, the words that you say in the vector space, any other stuff closer to that, they just give you all those relevant stuff. So it feels so personalized. It feels like nobody understands me this much because nobody has gone through that much of data set. Nobody has read that many texts of anybody. It's all so it's so artificial, but it's so huge that it can fake so well. And that is why ChatGPT is the most groundbreaking product that we've ever had in this world. So that's about that. Now about the technical aspect of how predictions work. Now we all know that it's not random. It don't, sorry, it don't really understand us. So what exactly happens? So mainly the way these models are created up until the point that we use it today, to the process of us using, you can divide it into two main parts. One, it's the training phase. This is a very high level overview, but I'm just giving it so that all of us are in like the same page. So first, it's the training phase, and secondly, it's the inference part. Training is you teaching the model, X, Y, and Z, basically everything. Like initially, I told you how you can teach a machine learning model about house prices. Looking at all this data, you can predict that this is the house of a random house in this area with this many rooms and this many, garden and parking space, whatever, all those conditions, you can assume it. Very similarly, when the data set is so huge, once again, like billions of sentences from all over the internet and every single thing that you can find, when it is fed with all of this and trained rigorously to recursively learn. Okay, what do I mean by recursively learn? That is, let's say, I'll just take this example that says the sky is blue, right? So let's say the model is trained, okay, for a comprehensive period. So these LLMs, they take months to train. It's not like few hours or few days. They take months, and that's very normal. So it takes months to learn, and then you give this one sentence again, okay? The sky is blue. And then it tries to predict, you give the sky is, and then it has to predict blue. So you check if the model can predict blue. But let's say it said the sky is red, then it is going to be a recursive learning where it teaches the model, look, it's not the sky is red, it's the sky is blue. And then the model again learns from that and goes again, and then reads the next sentence, whatever, and studies. So it studies for so long, and to the extent that it has, like all of these major AI models, foundation models, it has studied so well to the extent that we feel like it's speaking to us. But in reality, it has studied everything that's existing and it connects those very well. So what happens here is during this learning process, it maps them. Once again, like I said, we'll be speaking about this later on under the vector space and all those embeddings, but I'm just trying to give you all an idea here as well. It tries to get connected to words through numbers. I think you all will understand it later on. I'll not just bring it here. Anyway, so you give it so much data, random people's chats, random stuff, all the data from the internet. You give all of this into the model and make it learn. This is a very comprehensive process, a very very hard, very a process that takes very long. And then finally you get an output, which is a model. So this model is a huge file and it has so many numbers, parameters, and all of these things to the extent that we can use it for inferencing. Now, what is inferencing? That is the phase two. Inference is people or users, end users like you and me using ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or anything. We input a prompt and the model giving a response. This process is inference. So what happens behind this is the prompt that we are giving, it goes to the model. It doesn't go through this entire training process because this is taking months. You can't do this every time you send a prompt. So you have this already trained model. So based on the learnings that it has, it predicts what comes next. So that's how you get the response that you're getting. And it doesn't happen in a way where get the whole thing at once. Like the auto completion, it happens word by word. So, the car, and then, okay, car, what's the next close word is, and then it goes to is, and then what is the most probable thing, and then red. That's how it works. That's how it understands you so well. That's how everything happens, and you feel like it actually, is there for you. But in reality, it's just numbers. It's a number game. The numbers are big. That's the only catch here. So that's about inference. That's about how LLMs actually work. Now, this is a fun section. How AI concepts, how a lot of AI concepts work. Most of these things, some of you all might have heard, some of you all might not have heard, but these are things that we, at least with time, you all will hear. So it's very important that you all are familiar with these terms, and you all know what they actually mean. So there's a lot of concepts that I'm trying to cover here, around 10. So I'm not going to go in deep into any of those. I'll be going on a very high level, mainly because of the time constraint. Yeah, let's get started. So first we have system prompt versus user prompt. First of all, what is a prompt? I'm assuming most of you all know what a prompt is, but I'm just telling, just in case at least one of you all are not very sure what it is. So prompt is what you enter into models. So most of us assume that prompt is user prompt, but prompt has two parts. One of it is system prompt, and one of it is user prompt. So system prompt is what we want the system to know about our requirements. It's basically us telling the system kind of like instructions about what we want. User prompt is what we want, simply, like, this is what I want, what you're asking. System prompt is how you want the system to adapt according to your requirements. So most of us, like, when we just ask casual things, when we use AI for casual stuff, it's okay to just only have user prompts. That's totally fine. That's the whole purpose. Because, typing a whole lot of system prompt and then user prompt is not very practical. It's going to at least double the time. But when a lot of you all had these concerns about hallucination. Hallucination meaning how models are not giving accurate results, how it's very unpredictable at times, and you know, how sometimes it's not just okay, it's weird, it gives weird responses. Sometimes it gives one thing and another time it doesn't. So basically, all of these can be solved using system prompt. Let me have the chat open as well. Sorry. Yeah. So most of our issues can be solved with, some other strategies as well, but system prompt is one of the main things that we can use for that. So we should control not just the user prompt, but also the system prompt, because that's how we can tweak how the model works when giving us the response, not just what we want. Explaining what we want in a very good manner still won't help in certain times if you don't adjust how the system in itself gives you responses. Yeah, so you should tweak both of these according to your requirements. Next, it's prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is a very deep, like, there's a lot to speak about this, and it's something y'all can, self-learn as well. There's a lot of things, lot of techniques that y'all should follow for this. But on a very high level, I just thought of, because we're like going through this very fast, I'll just give you all a model that y'all can take home, that y'all can follow if y'all are doing anything. Like if y'all want to create a very good prompt for anything important. So fundamentally, there are 4 things that you all should focus on when creating a good prompt. One, the role that you're assigning to the model. So for example, there's this concept where you should treat your AI chatbot or your foundation model as as an intern that is working with you. So interns are people who you don't trust with heavy stuff. You always have to teach them what they're doing, and like you don't let them make decisions by their own because it's very risky. So similarly, you should also consider AI models in that way. You should not let them make decisions by their own. You should be very precise with your advice, instructions, and stuff. So following this mental model, one, you should tell the intern, or in this case, a model, who they are. That is about the role. You are a 20-year-old experienced lawyer. I know 20-year-old experience can't be an intern, but that's how it works. You should clearly define their role, who they are. And it always helps to tell the model that you are an expert in this field, to clearly define who exactly would give the best answer for you in a given situation, and tell the model to think as if they are that person. So it could be I don't know, like it could be anything according to your requirement. It could be a teacher in a specific field. It could be an expert in business. It could be somebody in, a creative marketer with many years of experience. All of those stuff are roles that you can define. And then it is the task. Task is what you want to do. So, for example, just a random joke. Okay. So the role would be a psychologist, uh, a 20 years experienced psychologist, and the task would be to understand why my friend is acting in a certain way. And then constraints is the limitations that you want the model to follow. For example, I don't want it to go too lengthy to like too lengthy. I want it to stop in a certain word count. Or like in a very practical context, it could be security constraints, it could be like other legal and other boundaries that you have. So all of those are constraints, but in this particular example, there's not really many constraints. So I'm just going to take the word count as one. And then the context. The context is what other information your model should know in order to give you the best result or to do your task in the best way. So in my case, I want to understand my friend. So just by telling the model that you are 20-year-old psychologist and telling it to understand, it won't help. It doesn't know. So I have to go and send my friend's text to all the context of our chats to the model and be like, okay, what the hell is going on? Why is she behaving this way? So that basically is context. I know it's a very silly example and don't do it, but I'm just trying to, um, tell it in a way that you all can remember. So for any serious task, try to make sure you all follow this. Tell who the model is, what the task is, what the constraints are, and give it all the relevant context. Because if you don't give the proper context, like we'll speak about this later in context engineering as well, but if you don't give it the relevant context, that basically means it has to go through all the internet and get random. It could sometimes not give you the stuff that you want, particularly if your use case needs a context. So that's mostly about prompt engineering in that what we have to discuss today. And then it's a very interesting topic, hallucination. So hallucination is when the model gives you wrong information, but acts so confidently like it is right. So you think it's right and you use it somewhere and then later on realize it's wrong. That is hallucination. So if AI is always lying, can you trust it? That's a question that you have, right? So I think to an extent it should be clear by now, but moving like context engineering would help you understand that even better. So most of the time hallucinations happen when you don't have enough context, right? Like when you leave space for ambiguity, like when you leave gaps in your prompt or basically prompt, your model try to, like the probability, can you all remember? So if it's like 49, 51, it's like equally, it could go this way or this way. And who knows, sometimes it could show 49, sometimes it could be 59. But if your prompt is a little more precise, it could very easily direct it to the one that you need. Maybe it's the 49% one. I mean, it's not always 51 or 49. There's like so many responses. So it's like uh, 20 and 9, 20, 15, 1, 0.1. That's how it works. But anyways, just for the sake of this example. And you can think of, so we're not speaking about context engineering necessarily here. We're just speaking about context here because context engineering is a very heavy concept. Context basically is similar to an open book exam and a closed book exam. So in a closed book exam, all you can use is what you have learned before the exam. So imagine the training process of how predictions work. So whatever that you learned during the training process, that is all that you can carry into answering the prompt that the user is giving. But if you do have a very clear context, in addition to the user prompt, or like as a part of the user prompt, if you have a very comprehensive context, that means it is similar to an open book exam because you have a very good context also coming in. So you can you can map your answer using that itself in a much more better way, and the accuracy would be way higher. So context can basically be any of these things. So where context engineering, the engineering part particularly comes into play is if you all are regular users of AI chatbots and all those stuff, you all will notice always, like your limit hits when you use the same chat for a long time. But if you all use new chats, like in the same site, if it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever, if you use new chats for each question that you have, you can use it for a longer time. But if you use the same chat, it like your tokens finish soon, like your limit hits very soon and you can't use it for a while. The reason for that is because your context is so huge. And when your context is so huge, the AI has to summarize all of that and carry all of that as well, including your user prompt for each inference. Meaning each prompt you hit, like this entire chunk should go through the process. But if you use a new chat, the previous huge context is not there. It's just going to be only the user prompt with some other system prompts that is in place already. So that is why context engineering is important, because that way you can minimize the number of tokens that is being consumed. So in large scale applications and stuff, this affect in terms of cost significantly. If you are continuously using the same chat, it's very expensive with time because a higher number of tokens are being consumed. Tokens are something similar to words, but yeah, it's something similar to words basically. That's about this. Next, it's vector embeddings. So vector embeddings, this is a very interesting concept, so try to understand. It can be slightly complicated sometimes, but it's very interesting. And if you understand this properly, you understand the core of how LLMs work. This is like the one key thing that you should understand properly as a beginner. So there is this thing called vector space, okay? Think of it now. If you just take a thing, okay, I'm just randomly going to take this pen. This is something 3D, right? It's a 3D object. So this has 3 dimensions. So you all know what is dimensions, right? So if it is like a paper, and you draw an apple in that, this is random, but if you draw an apple in that, I don't know if you can see, but I drew an apple. It is something 2D. It is 2 dimension, and this is 3 dimension. So can you all imagine 4 dimensional? No, right? Like that doesn't exist. How about 5 dimension, 6 dimension, 7 dimension? None of those exist, right? But imagine a dimension with thousands of, imagine a space with thousands of dimensions. Sounds crazy, right? Like really, really impossible, but very crazy. That's exactly where all of these tokens are stored. So what are tokens? Tokens are uh, basically words. Okay, so let's say I told you all about how models learn. So let's say we're speaking about a huge context, and you now the model learns that house, apartment, land, all of these are words that go together. And on the other hand, apple, banana, mango, all of these are things that go together. So it tries to, build connections between all of these. So all of these words, there is this huge space of thousands of dimensions where each of these word is living. Okay, like imagine that. Like there is a space where think of it as a huge library. Like libraries have this section, right? Fiction, adventure, this, that. But it has only one section. Like you can classify a book only in one section. But it's like this huge place with so many dimensions. So it has connections in different sides. So apple can be a fruit, and also it is connected to mobile devices because there's Apple phones, and Apple is also connected to boy because in small children's storybooks it's also always like boy ate the apple or whatever like that. And there is vehicles, there are cars and all the stuff, and those are connected to boy. So it's like this huge vector space where all the words are randomly there. It's not randomly there, it's very precisely there. So that is exactly how every time we run an inference, like based on those connections that's there. So all of these are stored as numbers, not as words, because storing as words, it's impossible. It's all, and the computers understand only binary, it all goes as numbers, but all those represent a word. If you decode them, it all goes, traces back to a word. So there's this huge space with so many words, but they are all clustered according to connections that they have. And it's not like they have one cluster. These words generally have like 10,000, 20,000. Like they have so many connections to different parts of different things. So like that's a very crazy concept to digest. But if you all can understand that, you all have understood like the fundamental, like the core idea behind this. Yeah, so embedding vector is just one dot, how do I say? It's just one word in this entire vector space. Yeah. Okay, now we're going back to the question that we had a while back. When you say LLM understood you, what do you actually mean? You all can drop your answers in the chat. Anyone? At least now, like when you say, if you can say that an LLM understands you, what does it mean? Does it just mean that it's good at predictions? Does it just mean that the embedding vectors are close enough? What does it mean? Just share your thoughts. It's okay. Anybody? Guys? Wait, what's going on? Hi. Hello. At least hi. Hello. Oh, just okay. I'm at least there. Yeah. Just predictions. Yeah, that's kind of crazy, like that realization after thinking that it actually understands you to just realizing it's just numbers, it's just predictions, and there's nothing real behind any of this. So yeah, that's how it is. Yes, it guesses the answers. It has been trained to understand you so well and give exactly what you want. That's why sometimes it doesn't give us what we want to hear. Like most of the time, it just give us what we want to hear. That's how it has been trained. So, and then another interesting concept. This is called RAG. So this, if you all, some of you all might have heard, if you all have worked with LLMs and all those stuff. So RAG is retrieved augmented generation. Retrieved is like the retrieval process is AI looking through an external knowledge base in addition to what it has been trained. Maybe LLM knows the pattern the user use. So this is very interesting. Okay, so like if like sometimes let's say you are a regular user of ChatGPT, if you take a certain problem to ChatGPT, it will give a better response than going to another model because of certain other previous conversations that you've had in different other, chat windows. So how that happens is, like I said, it summarizes the context. So that's why it don't remember exactly everything. Sometimes from here and there, it takes stuff and it summarizes. So it summarizes that into the system prompt, and every time an inference run, it goes along with that. So that's how it sometimes know the pattern of the user. So it's basically like your old conversations, bits and pieces from here and there going. Yeah, interesting response. Based on the prompt we give, it provides certain answer based on previous patterns conversations. Yes. And most of the time, like the most weightage for those responses are from patterns that are not even yours. It has been trained with, like I said, billions of other data. Um, yeah, so retrieval process is like saying answers. Yeah. Yeah. So to make sure that you consume less tokens, that is where context engineering comes into place. If you like study a bit about that, you understand how to handle, how to like reduce your token consumption very significantly. You can have very long chats even, but with low tokens. That's something you can study. Yeah, so retrieval is about retrieving from documents, and augmentation is combining what you retrieved with with what you have, and then generating new content. So it goes, so you retrieve and you get some stuff. It goes in along with the user prompt for an inference, and you get an output. That is basically RAG. So this is something that is being used very practically in a lot of places. If you take these businesses, business websites and all of these things, they have chatbots, right? AI chatbots. They all use this RAG concept. What they do is they give in all their company relevant files, data, and all of those things. And it basically keeps all of those in place. And then every time an inference goes, it goes with these things, and then a text gets generated. That's how RAG works. So RAG, you can, for very small scale stuff, it would just be like you uploading a document into ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever the LLM or LLM that you're using, and getting an output. Like we do that, right? We upload a PDF and get answers. That can happen in small scale, but in like real world scenarios, there are a lot of instances. Most of the instances actually, we're dealing with huge amount of numbers, like huge amount of files, to the extent that you can't use it that way. Like the that's just not possible. So you build a system where it, like a RAG pipeline, where it uses all of this and generation happens through it. Yes, that's about this. If I'm lagging, tell, okay? Because I think I got a message that said that my screen sharing was closed. And next we have fine tuning. So this is also something that is very powerful that you can do to change, especially if you're like building something with AI, building any AI product or something. This is something that is very important. So fine tuning is you directly fine tuning the model. Okay, so I'm using the same word again. It's you directly adjusting the model. So RAG is when um, you the model is just like it is. There is no retraining or anything that happens. Just the inference goes with your documents. But fine tuning is when you adjust the model itself to think in a certain way. So this can be in, this doesn't happen for like in a personal level, like every user don't fine tune models, but in industrial scale, or like if you're building something, you will need to fine tune models to make your model in a certain way. So if you want your model to have a certain tone in speaking, if you want your model to think in a certain way, all of these things, sometimes these could be things that we in a personal level use as system prompts, but like system prompts, you have to send it every time, and that's not practical in a proper setting, right? Like in an industrial setting. So that's where fine tuning comes, where you give these instructions and change the whole model. So the model's tone would change as per your instructions. That is fine tuning. So prompting is temporarily you're controlling. System prompt, all of these things, it's temporary. You're controlling the model, but temporarily just through a layer. RAG is you giving external knowledge. Fine tuning is you changing the model itself. So yeah, instead of telling what the AI should do every time, you teach it once. So if you were to just system prompt or something, you'll have to do it every single time, which is not practical in certain cases. And then it's agents and multi-agents. So we all know about, like we studied about the fundamentals of AI, right? Like the concepts. So how agents differ is LLMs or foundation models, they can do predictions of the next word. That's pretty much all. Next word or the next token. Agents can actually work on things. They can give output. They can like they can work on things and not just predict some token. That's the main difference. So agents, like ever since they came out, it has been a game changing thing, and so many cool stuff has came out with agents, because it's lit like that is what is, like gradually replacing people and all those things also. So if you give all the instructions properly, an agent can work on its own on a certain thing, because that's not how LLMs work, right? You just get a response. That even LLMs, you just get response and that's it. But agents can think for its own and do things by its own, call tools by its own, and all of those things. So multi-agent system is when you have different agents specified in doing different things. So you have one agent, let's say they're speaking about a model. So this is something that we once like did as a project. Uh, so we were trying to build an agent that can shop grocery for us. So meaning like you can just take your phone and open that chat and be like, okay, I want to make a cake, order all the necessary stuff. And then it goes to the Cargill's app. Uh, the Cargill's is a mobile app. No, it goes to that and it exactly orders all what you need to make it, and it comes, even the payment and all this happens, and it comes to your home and it gets delivered. So how it happens is you have different agents doing different things. One agent scrapes the price of the websites, like it knows the prices and all this stuff. And then because you should know, if you shouldn't buy something very expensive, right? If there are cheap alternatives. So for that, you have a data acquisition agent. And then you have another agent specifying in finalizing the recipe, and another agent looking into the payment stuff, another agent looking into security concerns, another AI looking after all this AI, another agent looking after all the agents, another agent who is calling the agents. Similarly, like you have different agents and they all work as a system and do something. So that is how like big systems work, agentic systems work. Yeah, so I think because we are not AI and we are humans, we should take a small break of 10 minutes. So now it's 10-ish. So we can come back at 5:20. And if you have any questions, you all can drop them in the chat. Hi guys, are you all back? Yes. Nice. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so let's get started. And I'm sorry, I just realized during the break that I did not reply to some of your messages. In case I haven't replied to your message, like later on at the end, in a while we'll have like a Q&A and then you can bring it up again. So like I've opened the everyone chat. I'm not like first I'm not very familiar with Zoom. I'm joining this, I think after O levels, like after a long time. So try to use the everyone chat because then I know I won't miss it. But if you all send it individually, I might not miss it for now, and I can get back to you all later during the Q&A. Okay. So yeah, let's get back to work. So this is something a little fun. Uh, let's try to build a system prompt, like a proper prompt, including a system and the user prompt that we can use on Claude. So you all can think of any use case that you all want to build. It doesn't have to be like the same thing that I'm doing. Like I don't even like you all can think of anything that you all will find useful and apply the same script that I'm sharing with you all. Okay, so give me a second. Let me open my notepad. Yes. So I'll drop the system prompt in the chat. Okay. It is a very comprehensive one. It has everything. Uh, it has everything. Oh, the limit is how. So I think I'll have to send this as two messages because it's going beyond the limit. So what you all should do is just copy paste both together. Okay. Nice. So what you all should do now is take this, copy both the messages into one same place, a notepad or Word or something, and edit this according. First of all, you all should think of a use case, like what do you all want to a proper prompt that you all want to do. So ideally, like my recommendation would be, because this prompt is also relevant to that, to think of like a local business that you all can build a chatbot for. So it could be I don't know, like if you all know anybody who is doing like a grocery business, or it could be a bookshop, it could be even a service providing one, it could be some institute, it could be something like Arco or Elevate, anything. So just think of a business like that and adjust this system prompt according to that. So this is how a quite good system prompt should be like for a task like this. So here first, like the first placeholder that you have to change is chatbot name. There you can give your chatbot a name. So it would act like that. So if you all know, I don't exactly remember the name, but I think Dialogue has like a name for their customer service, like avatar kind of thing. So like you can also come up with a name for your chatbot. That is the first placeholder, chatbot name. And then it is the business name. You all can update this for something else also. You all can tweak it as much as you all want. But if you all are using this for a local business, by the way, like you all get started, I'll just explain this while you all are doing. So yeah, and then the tone that you all can define how you all want it to be. Yeah, that's all. And then the constraints and stuff that's going on later, like what you can't do, be a little bit strict with that, especially if like like payment fraud can happen and they can get inside information, like your competitors can come to your chatbot and like speak in a way and get all your information. Like I said, how RAG works, right? You give your data to the system and then use it. So if you had given all of your sensitive information as well through this concept called prompt injections, competitors can steal your data or your sensitive data can be leaked. So all the proper place where all of those are being controlled is under this section of what you cannot do. You have to define those things very clearly. How you can't hallucinate, how you can't come up with lies, and how you should be with, taking orders, dealing with money, hard data, all those stuff. Yeah. And drop me a message if you all are, done with it. If you all are done with updating the prompt, you all don't have to like prompt it still. If you all are done, just let me. Oh, also like I think we can finish today's session a bit early as well because we're a bit ahead. So in case waiting till 7 o'clock feels like a big deal, don't worry, we'll finish soon. Yeah. And you all can ask questions as well. We'll have enough time for that. How is it going, guys? Let me know once you all are done. Okay, done. Okay, nice. So now what I want you all to do is to paste this in, Claude. Paste this in Claude, and then it will respond with something like, okay, understood or something. So that's the next step. Are you all done? So let me also work on this. You can also give examples. Am I audible, Jan? So you all can also give examples of the way you like text. So if this is a business that you've been doing for a while, you can add your responses as a reference. So it can learn your tone, like the way you speak, and it can continue chatting in a similar way with, people who come late also. So that's them. So here you all can add your products and services. I'm not adding it for the moment. You all can add all of these and update this if needed. So I'm just gonna send this now. And what happens next? It responds this way. And okay, now you all can just try asking some stuff like, okay, I haven't filled stuff, so it's not letting me go. But ideally, if you fill all of those, it would act like a proper bot. Okay. And then what happens next is you should test your chatbot with these questions and see. So questions on accuracy is always pretty good because you have directly given the prices and all of this information. So if you all have done this, I think most of you all said you all have done, so you can try these. The accuracy would be pretty good. And then you can test these tones, all of this stuff. But when it comes here, it starts to become a bit dangerous. When you start to test boundaries, like, can I pay you directly? Sometimes it could, give weird responses and stuff like that. So this is how you test your model. And if you come up with any scenarios where it is being compromised during the test process and you don't want your end user to face those, you have to go update your prompt. That is the only place that you can fix. Okay, so that's about that. And then these are like some quick fixes that you can do for like if you get problems with these test cases. So for example, if your AI is making up information and stuff like that, you should be more strict in your rules. So this is something you all can maybe even take a screenshot of if you all might find it useful. So this is like the fixes that you have for these problems. All of these basically fall under, prompt engineering. Okay. This is what I said, how you could, add your personality by giving example phrases. Nice. So like, let's go into the next section of AI tools. After like a lot of theory, I think finally we should learn how to use the existing tools that are built on this, if not useless having all of this technology. So these are a lot of, like, there are a lot of tools, so just a few of those that I randomly picked. So I think you all know about Perplexity. They have this Comet browser, which is an agentic browser. So all you have to do is to type something in the search bar and it would do all the rest. So just like Google, maybe I can show that as well. Can you all can see it? I don't know what, I'm not sure what I've shared. Maybe I should stop and share. Okay. Yeah, so something random. I'm just going to ask, open the research paper. Attention is all you need. This is the groundbreaking research paper that gave birth to LLMs. So like my hands are here. I'm not doing anything. It would find the site and open it. Yeah. So this is the research paper. That is one thing that you can do. Like, this is such a basic thing. You can do very complicated stuff as well. Like you can ask it to go to multiple websites and find, like the cheapest product that you can buy for this. Like you can give it very complicated task and it would open all the tabs by itself and go iterate through all of these and find and give you responses. So if you all haven't installed, try installing Perplexity and just try it out. It's fun and like it's useful as well for certain tasks. That's about comet. And next, ChatGPT, I think all of you all know the models that are there and all those. Gemini, ChatGPT is like it, like everybody uses ChatGPT, not necessarily because it's the best thing out there, but because it came out, it was released first. So like they have like the first mover advantage. So that's why ChatGPT is like ChatGPT. It's ChatGPT. ChatGPT is ChatGPT. So we have Gemini. It's good for research. Even a notebook from Google, that is also like a deep mode research thing, which is pretty good for research studies and all those things. Make is an agentic thing where you can build multi-agent systems and all of those things in like a low code level. Comet is perplexity is browser. So both of these goes hand in hand. This necessarily is not an AI tool, but I included this because it's something that you can use to be updated with AI tools. So let me show you that as well. It's a site called There's an AI for that. So here, this site updates every time there are like cool AI innovations, AI tools. It could just be something simple as like a AI wrapper, just a ChatGPT wrapper kind of a thing. But still, it, like if it's cool enough, they put in this. So you don't necessarily have to use all these tools. But if you like read through this once in a while, you're just updated. Okay, there are AI tools for these stuff going on. There are new releases on these things. You're just updated about the new capabilities of AI. So this is a good site to just update yourself about the tools. And there are a lot of free tools here as well. I think there's this filter thing that you can, there's that here, this free mode. So you can find only free stuff. So if you're looking for like free tools to use, you can go to free mode and find anything cool that works for you. They also have this research paper thing for this. So here you can read, if you are into academics, research paper and all those stuff, there are AI research papers here, latest ones, like interesting stuff. So you can read all of these. Yeah, so pretty interesting stuff. You can just keep yourself updated through this site. There are a lot of things here actually. That's about that. What's next? So I'm just going through these tools instead of going one by one. And then we have Canva. We all know that. You can use it for editing like I have. This humanize AI, that's also not an AI tool, but I just added it because we people need it when we use AI a lot, and with AI slop and all those shit, you really need this. So this is a free thing where you can just, add your text here and humanize it and get your, humanized text. So it won't get detected through any AI detectors. So this is very important if you are always using AI, because in certain places you can't just use AI generated content. Like for official stuff and for academic stuff, they do check AI. So then this is something that you should be using. Even if not, like generally now people can identify AI slop easily, like with the long dash and with all of those stuff, with the M dash and like certain words and all, it's very easy to identify AI generated text. So it's always good to use a humanizer. Sometimes the English is not very good in humanizers. Then you will have to, tweak it a little bit and make amendments, but it's better than using AI in certain instances. So this will be a game changer at times. Next, it's Notion. Notion AI, you can use it for like management and all the stuff. 11 Labs, DeepSeek. These are LLMs. These you can use. This is Climb. You can use this for, if you're into coding and stuff, you should be using this. Sorry, this is not Climb. This is Copilot. This is Climb. Both of these do the same purpose. GitHub Copilot and Climb, like agentic coding stuff. This is Microsoft Copilot, Grok, LLMs once again. And Cursor is also doing the same purpose as, so Cursor is actually like, it's something like VS Code if you're into coding. It's something like VS Code, but fully agentic. So it has more agentic capabilities than VS Code and all the other stuff. And Lovable, you can use it to make sites using AI and all the stuff. Figma for designing stuff. This for research stuff. That's a little bit about AI tools. These change always. So it's you like I didn't want to make this session about mastering tools because like always these tools get updated, right? So it's useless about mastering these and then it being outdated. Rather, it's better to understand how things actually work because then you can catch up with any tools that's coming. So that's a little bit about the tools. And then some fun with the talk. I think this isn't like the peak of AI. So if you look into like the history, this is like the peak of AI, right? But if you look into the future, this is the worst that we'll ever be. It'll always be getting better. So if you feel like, okay, AI is a hype now and, it's useless studying and all those things, in a few years, things will be back normal. No, it won't. It'll only get worse. And the divide of, understanding AI, like right now, there's this divide of using AI and not using AI. I feel like that divide would be more about understanding AI and not understanding AI. Because things like AI stuff and AI just randomly generating stuff and people using it, like that's going to lead with time to a very miserable situation. Like even documentations and all of these things, it's going to be gonna end up with so much random AI shit here and there, like written by AIs, read to be read by AIs. So it's very important that you understand AI in a context like today. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. So all that we studied, it's like just a decimal of what you have to study in AI. It's a very minute amount. So like, can you all just drop a message if this like this you all found this useful or you all expected something else? Oh, okay. Some people use, so there's this thing, okay, some people use in dashes while typing also, and some of these are actually impacted by AI. Words like delve, delve into, like going deep, delve into, those kind of words, they weren't being used at all before 2022 or something, before ChatGPT was released. They weren't used at all. But after ChatGPT was released, even people, when casually speaking, they use those words. So even if you don't use AI to for the M dash Zainab, you are influenced by it. Like always when you see ChatGPT or anything using that, you also tend to use that. You get me? Yeah. So okay, thank you guys. I'm glad that you found this useful. So that's a little bit about this. Do you all have any questions? I think I had like some missed questions. If you can like drop them again, please. Okay, so let me introduce what we had in plan, like the surprise sparkle. So that is AI Decoded and AI Essentials Bootcamp that we have planned along with Elevate Academy. So this is like the course plan that we have. It's not going to be like now today's session. It was like less than 2 hours, and we didn't do anything really. We it was just the fundamentals, right? So this would be like a proper 12-week thing where we have 3 hour sessions in every week. And we also have like outside the class stuff that's going on. Like you all will get resources and stuff to refer to and all after the classes to understand, to follow up and work to do. So that's how this would work. So initially it's like strengthening the foundations to understanding how things actually are. And basically the stuff that we studied today was like a drop of this. So it's like like machine learning and all of those stuff we would study during the first month. And next, it's like the modern AI systems and all of those things. And third month, it's about building something. So this is like a comprehensive plan that we have during the first month. It would be you all understanding how the evolution of AI, currently how it is, the future progressions, AI stack, all of those. And machine learning is very important for AI to actually work with it. Like if you don't understand it thoroughly, you can't build anything properly. So that is very important. So we'll be working on that along with the project. And then these stuff, like we'll properly work on those with examples, with like hands-on stuff. Um, and then next it's like building things. It's the AI system thing, the building AI aspect. After like being familiar with your foundations, you all would move into this. That's when you all would, do this agentic AI, multi-agent systems. You all would work on all of these things. These would all be beginner friendly, but at the same time technical. So if you all are trying to get into an IT degree or something like that, it would be very useful. Or even if not, like definitely knowing how this works from a slightly technical angle would give you an upper hand than a person who do not understand that. Um, and then finally, it's more about, you building a product, because end of this boot camp, you should have a product in your hand that you build, like a final proper product. So the final month is mainly for that, where you would focus on, those stuff. Yeah, evaluating your model and, uh, designing your model, figuring out what to do, how to do, and stuff like that, using AI for your work, all of those things. So like the benefits that you would get, I think I said this. So you would get a completion certificate, and we would have one-to-one mentoring, because like during this build phases, you all would get stuck in certain stuff. So we'll make sure to have regular one-to-ones to make sure you all are, okay with your developments. And y'all like one of the main skill that y'all would get when y'all learn AI is y'all can switch between AI tools, not just master one. Because something that I see a lot of people doing is they just learn a tool, and that means nothing after another tool overtakes them. So you solidifying your foundations and working on AI and building products would really help you to easily switch between AI tools as they come. And you can, of course, kickstart to build AI products. You'll actually have a built product already by the end, so you can enhance it further or even go to a newer development. So the schedule would be Sundays 4 to 7 p.m. It would happen weekly. It is starting from the 10th of May, and it would be going on for 12 weeks. So the plan price is 10,000. That would be the outside price as well. So for like till the 29th, that is this early bird thing going on, and it would be just 6,000. So we only have 12 slots opened and 3 are already reserved. So we have 9 more slots remaining. And if any of y'all are interested, y'all can text Elevate Academy number, right, Zainab? Y'all can. That's possible, right? Yep, so I think we can text the Elevate number and get that sorted. Yeah, so do you all have any questions? Yes, the prize is for the whole course. Thank you guys for the kind comments. I'm glad it was useful. So one of you all have asked, are there any courses to study more about AI for school students? So I think like you should be more specific when you say AI. So like if it is about building something and stuff, I think there are courses, but I mean, honestly, this is like a pretty cheap course that you all can take. I'm not saying because it's my course, but if you check like courses out there, it's like 75,000 and more like for basic stuff. So consider this. But yeah, we just have only 9 slots. So if any of you are interested, let us know. But yeah, answering your question specifically. So I think you can try figuring out what in AI you want to study, because when you just say AI, there's like different parts for different people. So specifically identify what you want to learn. If it is like for marketing, or if it is for like to be a techpreneur, to just understand why you need to learn AI, and then find out a course specific to that. That would first, you should, I think, understand why you need AI. Thank you. Yes, guys, any other questions? Okay, that's now interesting. Okay, so thank you so much for joining. It was very interesting working with y'all. and you all were very engaging as well. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, and see you all soon. If you all have any questions regarding anything regarding this workshop, anything that I discussed, you all can feel free to drop me a message. Or anything about, if it's anything about the course or anything, you all can drop a message to Elevate. And we can sort things out. Yeah, let's stay in touch. Thank you for joining, and see you all soon.